The ending of this story is somewhat disturbing, I thought. The third servant seems not only cautious, but wise, in my opinion. I looked up when I was doing research, and I found that a talent was a lot of money. In fact, it was a year's wages. And to be entrusted with a year's wages was not a small act. It was a great act of confidence, I thought. Not to lose it or diminish the total, to me, seems worthy of praise, especially since the master was a hard liner. I mean, if he had gambled and lost, I often wondered what would have happened, to this third servant. But only those who doubled the investment were welcomed into the kingdom. What are we to make of this? This parable is often interpreted in terms of personal talents and abilities that God has blessed each and every one of us with. Some are blessed with musical ability, some with teaching, some with the ability to help others, and that is a blessing in itself. Some have an athletic ability. As precious as these gifts are, and as important as it is to make good of them, here's another way to interpret the talents in this parable. The wealth of the master has to do, the master of course is God, and it has to do with the kingdom and grace. We're entrusted with this kingdom. That's the greatest treasure, God's gift of his presence in our lives. The teachings of Jesus is the treasure through the gospel. The question is, what have we, you and I, what have we done with this treasure? Have we invested it in our lives? Have we passed it on to those we meet in the world? What return have we made for God's investment in our minds and in our hearts through his holy word? Do we practice the Beatitudes? Do we imitate Christ and try to reflect his image to others so that when others see us, they say, I can see Christ in this person? Do we love others? This is a very difficult one. Forgiving those who harm us, physically or otherwise, who insult us. This kind of happens every day, can happen in the supermarket. Are we the children of light who burn with the light of Christ? Have we found ways to bring the gospel into our lives? Are we ready to help others whenever we can? Do we work to propagate peace and reconciliation when we are able? God invested in us in the very person of his divine Son, Jesus, who is the treasure giving for our salvation. God's gift to us this day is the Holy Eucharist. Once received, is his presence reflected by us? We receive the body and blood of Christ. Do we reflect it to others? As I say, can they see Jesus in us? How does his grace flow through us and into the world, into those people with whom we come into contact? What are we doing with the great treasure entrusted to our care? This is what this parable is about. The life of grace, which is meant to be lived and brought into the world, present both in the message of the gospel and in the very person of Jesus Christ through the Eucharist. Let us ask our blessed Savior for the wisdom to invest wisely all of our days in this world, so that when we approach the next, we may be welcomed into the joy of the kingdom. God love you and bless you and give you peace. Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.